Guys, welcome back to the Manly Lifestyles podcast. Again, I'm your host, Kevin Manley. Very glad to have you back. We're going to jump into this topic. We're on the longevity series, and if you've been here the last couple of weeks, we've defined it. We've also talked about the how to create longevity. So again, God has placed it in the heart of men this year to give men a voice. I'm excited. I hope you're excited that you're finding or discovering the aspects of the voice that God has given to you and how to apply it in the various aspects of life. So we're going to jump into this topic. Again, it is very incremental. We're started on defining it, which I was so excited on how we defined when it comes to longevity. It was in the heart of God. God placed it. He desired for not only man to have longevity, but he placed it in the workings of creation itself. So it's very important that we understand that. So we defined it. We talked about the how. Now we will talk about the top areas for longevity. 4 areas I'm going to talk about. The first one is your relationship with the Lord. This is the most important relationship for you to create longevity. That means that you can, over the span of life, the Bible talks about not wasting your youth. If you are young, I implore you, this is the time to discover the Lord. Not to discover the world, but to discover the Lord. The word says, if you seek me with your whole heart, you will find me. I encourage you, allow yourself to seek the Lord. Seek him because you'll be able to reference back to a time, a formative time, that God developed something in you that could span a long term, which you could build longevity with. It's very important that you have that. So I implore you, when you have a relationship with the Lord that spans decades, it is a blessing. It is a treasure. There is a blessing that comes along with that, and I'll talk about that next week. But there is absolutely a blessing that comes along with that. You want to create longevity with the Lord as your primary place. That means day in and day out, you are spending time with him, and you are building history. You're building a relationship with the one true and living God, and that is who you are to have as your focal point of your life. The second one is with your wife. Men, you have to create this. And this is, I believe, for all of us men to understand how to continue to cultivate it. There's always times where we can get better, we can grow, right? There's areas within us where we need to allow God to touch so that we can be the men that we need to be for our wives. But we have to understand that you want to create longevity with your wife. One of the blessing or the most special things that I've encountered are when you can talk to a man who's been married to his wife for 25, 30, 40, even 50 years. And you just prick their brain on what is it like? How did you do it? And they talk about their commitment. They talk about how they made that commitment to that woman and they did not deter from it. It doesn't mean that situations and temptations did not come, but they stood steadfast. And I love even when they had just simplistic basic rings. And that was why I chose mine. A simple ring because it was more about the stance I was taking rather than all the pomp and circumstance. You know, everyone has a new ring, and I'm not. And please don't take this any wrong way. I'm not talking about anyone else. I'm talking about myself. I wanted to say is those older men who are of that generation that simply had a basic ring, but they said they were committed. They could look back and say, you know what? I committed myself to that woman, and we've been married for 50 years. Those are the testimonies you want. Longevity. You want longevity. Longevity is missing from society. Yearn for longevity with your wife, and you have to learn how to do that. So it takes time, but this is the primary area to develop that. The third one here is in, with people. You want to develop the longevity with people. That is such a great area when you can have relationships that have spanned decades, people you've walked with. Again, it does not mean things will be perfect, but when you have relationships, they can be a blessing to you. It's such a blessing when you've known people for such a long time and you're so familiar with them. But you have to allow yourself to be in a place of familiarity because sometimes it can be so surface level. But when you go to a depth with people and you've been in that depth for years, even decades, it is a blessing unto you. It's a blessing unto your family. So I implore you in that. And the last one is in your work. What does God call you to do? What does he call you to put your hand to? What does that look like? Does that mean being in ministry? Does that mean being in the marketplace, working in a business? Does that mean painting? Does that mean whatever God has called you to do? Allow it to build into longevity. There is a blessing that comes with longevity. Do not be someone that just jumps in and out of things. It's here and then it's over there, and then you're over here, and then you're way over here. No, but allow yourself to be the person that is consistently in the same area day after day after day, because you will be building something. You'll be building a structure. You'll be building an edifice that God can use because you've allowed yourself to be deepened in that particular area. So allow that to be what you desire and what you go after. These are 4 top areas. Again, number 1 with the Lord. Number 1 with your number 2 with your wife. Number 3 with people. And number 4 with the thing God has called you to put your hand to. Focus on these 4 areas as the areas for longevity. Guys, you will be blessed. Continue to seek the Lord. I bless you guys. Have an awesome week. And next week, we'll talk about the 4th area, which I'm excited for. This will be about longevity and the blessing. There is a blessing that comes with longevity. So we'll talk about that next week. Bless you guys. Talk to you soon.